basically, first, if you don't know Jubilee, they are a very popular YouTube channel, and they do videos on, mainly they're just for entertainment, but they like to do things where they bring together people of different viewpoints and try to have them reach a middle ground, or they're just big on expanding empathy and I guess, finding common ground between people. And I think that is a big thing that is important to me. So I have been watching their videos for many years, both the more serious ones and the fun ones. And recently they've been doing this series called Surrounded, where they bring together some prominent person. Like, they've done ones with the biggest, most popular ones were like Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, and Destiny. And then they have 25 people who disagree with that person. And the prominent person sits in the middle, and the rest of the people sit around them in a circle. And the person in the middle will make a claim, and the rest of them race up to try to talk to the person about that claim. And I don't think it's supposed to be a debate. It's supposed to be more like a dialogue, but it's usually a debate. They've done a lot of those videos around the election. And I was watching the Ben Shapiro one night. I was sitting right here in bed, and during one of their ad breaks, it said, "Are you an undecided voter in Michigan? And would you like to be in a video of Surrounded? If so, apply here." And if you didn't know, I live in Michigan, and like I said, I've always watched Jubilee, and I hadn't casted my ballot yet. So I was like, what the hell? Let me just fill out the application. Not thinking I would get it, just thinking, why not? I live in Michigan, that would be funny. So I go to the form and I fill it out. It was like, it took me maybe 20 minutes because they wanted some pictures of you. They wanted a video explaining, I guess, why you thought you'd be good for the video. They asked different questions about my voting history, my political beliefs, demographic stuff. And so I turned it in, and and keep in mind, they say, I was watching this on a Thursday night, and a couple weeks ago, and they said we're shooting on Monday. I'm like, how are you gonna find enough people that fit the bill by Monday and organize all this? So that's why I felt like maybe I do have a chance, because how many people are you gonna find in that amount of time? So the next day, on the Friday, I got an email to set up an interview, like a 10-minute interview. So I did that with the assistant director, and they pretty much just asked the same questions as in the application. There wasn't much new stuff. But yeah, we weren't told who the main person was gonna be. We didn't find out until 5 minutes before they came out to talk to us. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So later that day, I basically got the email saying, we would like you to participate, and gave all the details for where we shoot and everything like that. I couldn't believe it, and I was going back and forth about whether or not I should do it, because generally it's not a good idea to be political online. I feel like I work for, I won't say, but I don't know, I just didn't want to risk it, in case I get backlash or whatever. But seeing as the theme was undecided voters, I feel like that's not that controversial, at least in my opinion. I know it is to a lot of people, but I'm it's different than if I'm going on spouting some very specific political belief, And I also had the goal in mind to not talk, to not go up, even though maybe I would have wanted to. It just felt safer to not, because I don't want future employers or anything seeing me be political. just nervous. Like, I'm not that outgoing where I would feel confident debating somebody. So yeah, I decided I can do this safely, and just basically my goal was to just, it's a cool experience and I can say I did it and maybe meet some people, see what it's like, and yeah, I just thought it would be funny to do. And like, I was telling my friends and they were like, yeah, this is something you would do. Because I'm kind of just in this era where I'm just trying to experience things. So yeah, I said yes. And since it was a Friday afternoon, I didn't really have to, and we were going to shoot on Monday, and it was going to take up a good chunk of the day. So I didn't have time to get approval from my boss to take PTO. So I had to just wing it. Like, he still didn't even answer Monday morning before I left. Luckily, he ended up responding saying it was okay, and like he was interested in hearing about it. But yeah, so I went to the shoot, and as you can see from the video, it turned out that the main person was Pete Buttigieg, who I knew, but at least a couple of the people there hadn't heard of him, or didn't remember who he was. He ran for president in 2016, he ran to become the Democratic nominee for president against Hillary Clinton. So yeah, I knew him, and I didn't know he lives in Michigan too, but I guess that's why they did this in Michigan, and we're a swing state, so that was super exciting to find out it was Pete Buttigieg. Like, that's a big deal. But yeah, I'll walk you through like kind of how the shooting went, not in that much detail because I'm not supposed to share everything. But basically, yeah, I pulled up like right on time or a couple minutes late, and everybody was already sitting in the circle. It was just like me and a couple other people that hadn't arrived yet. So I go sit down next to these two nice ladies, and we're chatting, and I realize I'm sitting like right behind where Pete was gonna be sitting. At that time I didn't know it was Pete, but the speaker. And I didn't want to be on camera the whole time, like in the background. So I'm like, guys, I think I might go move to be more like behind, like not on camera the whole time. And me and this other woman, we both wanted to take that other open seat, but she wasn't moving, so I'm like, okay, if you're not gonna go, I'm gonna go. So I switched and went and sat by a guy around my age, and turns out he was from like the town next to my hometown. And then I was next to this older man who was from also from Michigan. Obviously they were all from Michigan, but yeah, so I was chatting with them for a while because it took some time before we actually got started. So it was really nice to just meet all these different people. Everyone was very friendly. And yeah, finally they told us it was Pete. And I was like, oh, that is crazy. And yeah, because I was really wondering who the person in the middle would be, because undecided voters, there's not, the opposite of undecided is decided. But that could go either way. That could be a liberal person, a conservative person. I wasn't sure, so it turns out he came to convince us to vote for Kamala. So yeah, he basically had 4 claims where he was trying to convince us that we should vote for her. And yeah, so we got to shooting. We started right away. After like we found out who it was, we started. There really wasn't much like frill. Like, honestly, the crew wasn't like super friendly. It wasn't very like, hi guys, welcome in, this is what's going down. I don't know. It was very like straight to business, which is fine. I was just kind of surprised, I guess. Shout out the security guard though, he was very friendly. So yeah, there wasn't much extra stuff. So then Pete came out, and yeah, we talked for maybe an hour and a half or so. And I successfully got away with not going up even though I kind of wanted to at points, I was like, I'm not gonna risk it. And this episode, they wanted to be different from like the Ben Shapiro episode. They didn't want it to become this like feisty debate. They wanted it to be a very civil conversation, and I would say that definitely was the case. They also were very intentional about making sure anybody who wanted to speak got a chance to, which was nice. And basically as a group we decided who would speak and made sure everybody got to. It wasn't like you had to race really fast and like fall over trying to get to the chair, which I always thought was like a bad model anyway. And yeah, so honestly, I mean, you can watch the video if you want, or maybe you already did, but it was like definitely a more boring episode than the others because they wanted it to be a civil dialogue. And also, you know, Pete is a trained politician. He's not this online personality that's like meant to be inflammatory. So he was very good at just saying statements that everybody would agree with. I mean, definitely some things that wasn't the case, but like a lot of what he said, it was just like, yeah, that's just like a nothing statement, as I would call it. Like, you're not really saying anything with that, so people can't disagree. So yeah, honestly, that was a little disappointing. It just wasn't like super productive or engaging conversation, I guess. It was productive in the sense that I guess a lot of people who originally marked down that they were voting for somebody other than Kamala or weren't going to vote, by the end of our conversation changed that to say they were voting for Kamala, so I guess he did his job well. He did the 4 claims, and yeah, I was just kind of sitting next to the same people, and yeah, because I didn't talk, I ended up being in the video for like literally 3 frames or something, which I know is what I wanted, but then when I watched it, I was like, ah, dang it. I didn't even get like any screen time. So be careful what you wish for. No, but I was happy with how it turned out. Not my knee in the video. So after he finished the 4 claims, basically they were like, also usually with these videos they have the person in the middle choose one contestant to debate for 10 minutes on a topic of their choosing, but this time they didn't do that. I guess Pete was in a rush, and they were like immediately like, okay guys, file out of the circle, we're gonna do the solo of Pete. And so as we're filing out, I was like, since I didn't talk to him, I really want to just shake his hand and like say thanks for being here or something. And as we're filing out, this one girl was like, would you mind taking my picture with him real quick? And I was like, sure, if you take mine. So we're gonna do that as other people are shaking his hand and stuff, getting pictures. But the director is like, alright guys, this is the last picture, like we really have to get out of here. Pete has to do his solo. And I'm so mad, so I took the girl's picture, but then I kind of got pushed out of the way, like I didn't even get to say one word to him, like shake his hand, and I should have stood up for myself and just done it. And I think really they should have allotted at least, like literally 10 minutes would have been enough to get a picture and talk to everybody there. But I guess he was in too big of a rush. Like he had something after this. So that was really disappointing, to come all that way, spend all day, and not be even, sorry my hair is frizzy, not be able to, even get one word in with him. But I understand, so that was disappointing, and they made us wait outside for like 15 minutes while they filmed him, and it was cold, so that rubbed me the wrong way too. But it gave me a chance to talk to the other people there, talk to them about how we think it went, which was cool. And then they called in some people to do like solo interviews after, and I really wanted to do one of those, to just kind of say my thoughts, since I didn't they did call my name to give one, and I was like, oh good. And then they were like, actually, you can go. So yeah, a lot of us just left when we were no longer needed. And I was like expecting, I don't know, we would exchange numbers, like maybe go out to lunch or something. Like, I don't know, we just all left. So in that sense, I was disappointed in a few ways by the whole experience. I think it could have been a more like positive and friendly environment, I guess. But again, I understand that Pete was busy, and I'm sure the production, they were probably on a strict timeline as well and all that. So, what else? Yeah, so, yeah, I waited a while for it to come out, and, oh yeah, so, when they released it, I realized they cut out a lot of our conversation, which didn't surprise me in one sense, because of course they're not going to include every second, but it was already a shorter episode than the others, so I would think they would be hurting for content to include. They cut out like 5 people who did speak, like in the video you didn't see any of their conversation, and in my opinion some of those conversations were like the most interesting ones, or most entertaining at least. So I was surprised by that. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm really glad I did it. Like, I'm glad I put myself out there and did this interesting thing that I can, have as a memory. And like I said, I was only in like 3 frames. It really wasn't a big deal. And I didn't get to meet Pete. But yeah, it was cool, and yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much my takeaway. I'm glad I did it. It was cool, but it wasn't the most interesting episode. I don't think it was the most interesting conversation. So yeah, I mean, I would recommend you go watch it, but honestly, the other ones are more entertaining if that's what you're looking for. But no, I do still love the YouTube channel. And yeah, that's pretty much my story time. I appreciate you listening. Let me know what you thought of the fluffy mic cover.